Over the weekend, I had a chance to meet up with a few of my New England viewers at an open house held by moms in Foxborough, Massachusetts. As you know, they have been my dealer since 2009 and have always taken good care of me. I like doing these open houses because it supports those folks who support me, and as I said, I get a chance to meet a few viewers and chat about motorcycles, traveling, and life on YouTube. It always feels good and humbles me knowing my efforts are making at least some positive impact on our little motorcycle community. Some of the riders I got to talk with are planning trips to Alaska, others are just now thinking about taking their first overnight journey. I even talked with a few folks who have more than 60 years of saddle time, something I will never live long enough to achieve. It's amazing just to think about it. There were Triumph riders, Harley riders, Honda riders, as well as a variety of other makes and models. What we ride doesn't matter. We all have the wind and the road in common, and that is what really counts. As I have gotten older, my outlook on life has changed, as I am sure you have probably noticed. At one point, I was worried about time running out and that I was not going to be able to do all of the things I wanted in the short amount of time I have remaining. This was especially true when I was still grinding away at a full-time job, which consumed the bulk of my hourly allotment. However, even though I am older now than I was during my working years, I no longer feel the need to accomplish everything. Partially, I think it is because the challenges of work-life balance are now gone, but also I realize that doing everything is just not possible nor necessary. Somewhere along the line, I realized that checking things off a bucket list was not going to bring me happiness. In fact, in the last few years, I now realize that happiness is, well, quite honestly, bullshit. Now let me explain before you get out your angry fingers and start hitting the keyboards with rage. You see, somewhere along the way I finally figured out that happiness is fleeting. It is something that happens during moments of elation, but it is just not possible or desirable to live in a state of constant happiness. Life is full of ups and downs, good times and struggles. In fact, just looking at the world around me, it sure seems that many of us need a bit of struggle in our lives just to feel whole. For me, what I have come to realize is that while total happiness is not something that can ever be achieved, I have learned to be content in my life. Content with my accomplishments, content with the obstacles I have faced and overcame, content with the things that I have, content and grateful with the people in my life. Sure, there are some self-help gurus that will say that you should never be content. You should always be striving, achieving, and working to be better. And at one point in my life, I would have agreed with that, back when I was a lot angrier. Even today, I strive to be a better motorcycle rider, a better videographer, a kinder person, which is the really hard one, but I don't reach for those things because I am unhappy with life. Yes, growth is an important part of being a good human being, but how we approach the process is equally important. As I have gotten older, I have tried to stop looking at life as a series of things that need to be conquered. Rather than seeing life as boxes to be checked off a list, I look for the places, people, and experiences I wish to enjoy and learn from. I no longer look at life as a competition where there are winners and losers. At this stage in life, it just no longer matters. I have learned to travel my path while being unconcerned with the outcome. The truth is, I can't really control it anyway. Do I make plans? Well, of course. For example, I'm headed to Nova Scotia this summer, and as you probably have gathered, I have all the stops and hotels figured out ahead of time. For me, this just makes things easier when I get out there. fewer decisions I have to make. Where to find the evening meal is about all of the stress I really want while traveling. But if something happens and my buddy Kevin and I are not able to hit all of our marks or take the required pictures on our Four Corners quest, well, so what? It's all about fun and enjoyment of the journey. We never know what lies between point A and point B, and we will just roll with the punches. As you know, I am a fan of the Tao Te Ching written by Lao Tzu in the 4th century BCE. For me, its simple wisdom says so much about how to live in harmony with the natural world. The 37th verse says this: "The Tao does nothing, yet leaves nothing undone." If rulers could center themselves in it, the whole world would be transformed. People would be content with their lives and free of desire. When life is simple, pretenses fall away. Our essential nature shines through. When there is no desire, all things are at peace. Where there is silence, one finds the anchor of the universe within oneself. So what does this mean? Well, first, regardless of my personal desires, the sun is going to rise in the east and set in the west. The moon is going to pull on the oceans, and every living organism, including you and me, is going to be born, live, and die. Species will come and they will go. Things will expand and they will contract. The cycles of life in our world and within the universe will continue, and it will all happen without our input and certainly outside of our control. The more we try to take control, the more doom scrolling we do, the more angry memes we pass on, the more we complain about how others think or behave, the less control we really have. I was watching the Rich Roll podcast, and his guest was Mel Robbins, who I have mentioned before. She is the author of The Let Them Theory, which is again a book I have talked about in other videos. For those who are not familiar, the Let Them Theory is a modern interpretation of the things Lao Tzu talks about in the 37th verse of the Tao Te Ching, as well as some of the tenets of Stoicism. The idea is to stop trying to change other people and the things around you. Let people be who they are and let things unfold the way they will. Focus on what you can do in response to the things you cannot change, because in reality, that is all you can do. During this podcast, Mel and Rich had an interesting discussion about the act of saying, "let them." Rich asked, when we use the phrase, are we in effect saying, "screw them"? Does it come with some animosity and judgment, or is it more about letting go of personal attachment? If we say "screw them," are we not still allowing others to control our thoughts and actions? Mel's response was interesting in that the answer is a little of both. At first, when practicing detachment, it may be that you need to say "let them" with a little judgment mixed in. But hopefully, as you grow, you will also say, "let me take responsibility for my actions and thoughts." When we get to this place, and by the way, I'm still working on it, what Lao Tzu is saying in the 37th verse becomes more clear. When there is no desire, all things are at peace. When there is silence, one finds the anchor of the universe within oneself. Whether just living in this crazy world designed to grab your attention and piss you off on an hourly basis, or taking a long motorcycle journey, let go of your desire to control, let go of your desire to be right, and just let things happen. Be silent. Find peace. Find the anchor inside of yourself. Stop searching for some bullshit happiness from things outside of yourself, and just be content. Keep riding safe, my friends, and of course, keep squeezing that lemon.